Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
I don't need you to worry for me, 'cause I'm all right. I don't want you to tell me it's time to come home. I don't care what you say anymore, this is my life. Go ahead with your own.
9:22. Welcome back to our daily show on this 9th day of October, a Wednesday morning. Lacey McDonald joining us at 10:10 today too.
Lacey is always on your show, isn't she?
It is a history day today on this Wednesday.
That's good.
We were talking the other day, Jared, and coming up on the 19th of October, a really great opportunity for all of us to learn more about Alton's diverse history through this Freedom to Equality tour. Right off the bat, let's break this down. And what is this all about?
Basically, it is an opportunity where we present information relative to historical places that have an African American bend to them. There is some Underground Railroad information relative to the Rocky Fork settlement area, which is in Godfrey. But a lot of the tour focuses in on abolitionists or people who were empathetic to those freedom seekers who were traveling from south to north, trying to seek their safe havens. And that's basically the premise of the tour. There is some Underground Railroad information, but most of it is bent on, individuals and locations.
Well, and what I think is really cool about this, and I was just reading that, this is a more intimate setting too, where you aren't necessarily 100 people walking around with you, about 20 per group.
Yes. Normally there is a tour bus that the maximum seating is about 20 people. And so where I begin is that we will leave the visitor center and we will head to Godfrey. And on the way, I just give a little bit of background information as far as who founded Alton, give a little bit of background information about Rufus Easton. Then we head to Rocky Fork, and that is an Underground Railroad location that was it's a verifiable one based on the National Park Service. And it was kind of settled in around 1816, but then due to the relationship with the AME Church, it became New Bethel Rocky Fork, New Bethel AME Rocky Fork settlement. And so the church there, the New Bethel Church, was built in about 1869. And so there were the freedom seekers who were heading north, and the Rocky Fork settlement area was the first location that they landed or that they found as they were heading either to Chicago or Detroit, and then even as far north as Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and I know that sometimes with the Underground Railroad, when folks come in, that some of the spots that, people may have thought were Underground Railroad locations might necessarily not have been those locations, but this is a verifiable Underground Railroad location.
Yes. And, there was a woman by the name of Priscilla Baltimore who assisted a lot of the freedom seekers, and she is denoted as being the Moses of the West, meaning that it is cited that she assisted a minimum of around 300 freedom seekers who were seeking their safe haven. And that's one real significant aspect about going to Rocky Fork. After we leave Rocky Fork, then we are heading to the Alton Cemetery. But as we're going in that direction, I give a little bit of background information on Benjamin Godfrey, because Rocky Fork is located in Godfrey. So, I just give a little bit of background information on Godfrey. And I think that people in this community probably know, but he was the individual that donated $53,000 of his own money to create Monticello College. And Monticello College is the precursor to Lewis and Clark Community College. And so Godfrey is known for his philanthropy. And so I give a little bit of background information on Godfrey. Then we head, as I mentioned, to the Alton Cemetery, but by way of the Middletown area of Alton. So Lyman Trumbull's house is located on Henry Street. And there are people that probably know about Trumbull. He was a Republican, he was a senator, he was one of the individuals who is highly regarded as being one of the creators of the Republican Party. And so he was the co-author of the 13th Amendment, which was an amendment that abolished slavery. So his home is right there on Henry Street, and his home has a designation which is one of the highest designations in our country. It's on the National Registry of the National Registry of Historic Places. Right. And so we stop there, give a little bit of background information on Trumbull, and then that's when we head to the Alton Cemetery. I mean, obviously you can't talk about anything that is historical without some information relative to Lovejoy, to Elijah Lovejoy. Right. And so his monument is there, and the Lovejoy Monument is the tallest monument in the state of Illinois.
Is it really? Yeah. I didn't realize that.
Wow. It steeps upward right at 110 feet tall. And so people probably don't realize that the Lovejoy Monument is the tallest monument within the state. And
wow.
So, yeah.
That you know what? It's just incredible, though, because it goes back to the reason why I started this show, Jared, is because so many times you drive by these places. Yeah. I mean, how many thousands of people drive by going to Duke Bakery, Trumbull's house, and going by Lovejoy and just looking at it or barely noticing it sometimes, not realizing that we're really in a time machine of history. I mean, there's so many connections and overlaps and historical significances. It's not like one of the towns I used to live in when I was doing pro wrestling was historic, but the historic significance really wasn't a historic significance. It was just an age. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but we have this treasured history and one of these legacies to preserve, but also learn. And I challenge anybody that's my age to go and learn about where you live and love it, because there's a lot of things to really love and preserve here. And just like this tour, a lot of good spots. Yeah. I mean, and then, once we're in the Alton Cemetery, there is a marker there, a gravestone that is a tribute to the person who was the first colored individual that graduated from Alton High School. His name is Charles Newton. Was he in Vintage Voices last year? He was represented. He was. That is exactly true. Yeah. And so he graduated from Alton High School in 1873. But even though he graduated from Alton High School, technically he didn't really attend Alton High School because that was the age of segregation. He really attended Lincoln School, but because he had acquired the academics that were necessary for him to graduate, he was invited to participate in the graduation ceremonies. And so, and not only was he invited to participate, he was even invited to present a speech. And so it was called the Rise and Fall of Roman Eloquence. So Newton had a prestigious kind of background in that he was the first colored person to graduate from the high school, and that he was even invited to present an address there. So that is definitely noteworthy. Absolutely. Well, and then also, it's one of the individuals that would be hard to not talk about would be Scott Bibb, who I saw was featured on this tour as well. Yes.
And Scott Bibb, really, after we leave the Alton Cemetery, then we go by the Scott Bibb Center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Scott Bibb, his historical marker is right there at, I want to say, 5th and Ridge, because the Scott Bibb Center is under the auspices of Lewis and Clark Community College. Mm-hmm. And so Scott Bibb was an individual. He's noteworthy mainly because from 1872 to 1897, the Alton Public Schools were integrated. And then for some odd reason in 1897, they decided that they wanted to segregate the school system. And so Scott Bibb filed a lawsuit against the school board and against the city of Alton because he wanted his two kids, Minnie and Ambrose, to continue to attend Washington School. And so he filed this lawsuit. It was a lawsuit that went through 7 jury trials and 5 appeals in excess of 10 to 11 years. And the remarkable aspect of it is that the lawsuit went all the way to the state Supreme Court. He won the lawsuit, but for some odd reason, the city nor the Alton School Board did not comply to the verdict. Now, I don't know why they did not have to comply, but they did not.
Wow.
So because he sued the city of Alton and the school board, and because it went all the way to the Supreme Court, is the reason why what he did was noteworthy.
You know, I mean, but could you imagine that, though? And one of those, just putting it into perspective, you fight, you win, and you still lose.
Win. Exactly.
I mean, that's it. I mean, that's just something that's incredible in all the wrong reasons, you know?
Yeah. Well, and you know, Illinois during that time was a free state. And so you would have thought that maybe since we were designated as a free state, there would have been a little bit more empathy towards Bibb's plight.
Right.
But there really wasn't. Yeah.
You know, that's just so interesting to me. And especially, you know, and Lacey and I have talked about that too, of Alton going from, you know, not having segregation and all of a sudden segregating their schools.
Yeah.
It's very, very bizarre, you know. And what do you attribute that to? Do you have any thoughts?
The only aspect that I can maybe speculate is that during that generational time, the city of Alton was kind of separate based on how it was governed.
Okay.
And in Upper Alton had an integrated style of a school system, and then they had gone to a segregated style. And so I'm thinking that maybe the city of Alton was piggybacking on what was occurring in Upper Alton, and since Upper Alton went from an integrated to a segregated style of schooling, then I think Alton just kind of piggybacked on that. That's about the only reason that I can think that maybe they decided to change.
And that would make somewhat, you know.
Yeah.
Somewhat sense. It still doesn't, but it does in that relevance.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, getting into this too, coming up on October the 19th, how long do these tours run?
The tours will run right around 2 hours.
Okay.
They begin at 10 and they go from 10 until noon. And so it's normally the tours do not last any longer than 2 hours, but that is some of the information that we basically cover. The only addition to that is that we go about Union Baptist because that is a church that was formed in around 1837, and they had held a colored convention there to dispatch ministers throughout the state, and their their mission was to repeal the black codes. And so by having this meeting in 1856, they dispatched these ministers throughout the state, and they were able to to piggyback on the 13th Amendment, and so their meeting was able to satisfy their mission, which was to repeal the black codes. And the black codes, it was an outline of where people of color could not marry, they could not carry weapons, they could not vote, they could not collectively assemble. And so this was a way to repeal what at that time was obviously a very serious way to cause injustice, and so, but at least that did satisfy their mission.
Man, I mean, but see, and what I think so fascinating too is for all of us that grew up in Alton, and, went to Alton School District or even went private. A lot of us didn't really learn half of this information whenever we were growing up, and I'm honest about it. I don't remember learning this in school,
Right,
and it's
right.
so important, I think, for especially children that are in elementary school or middle school and especially high school to go and learn about some of these very important things that are happening here. But also, is there an age requirement? Do you kind of recommend a more mature audience for this?
I would probably say, because there have been kids that have come on the tour. I would probably say a minimum, a good minimum age would be a teenager. So I'm thinking, late middle school, 13 years of age, just so that they can comprehend the information and be able to attribute it. And so, but probably a minimum of 13 years of age upwards.
Okay.
And so, and then, lastly, we wrap up the tour at the Miles Davis statue.
Absolutely.
Yeah, people in this community probably realize that Miles Davis was born in Alton, but there are some people who may view that because Miles Davis grew up in East St. Louis, that maybe he was born in East St. Louis. But no, he was born here in Alton. His father was a dental surgeon. His mother was a blues pianist, and their family moved out of Alton. Probably Miles wasn't too far past around 3 years of age. So he did spend the majority of his life in East St. Louis, but he was born here. And our statue here, we house, no, I guess the house is not the right word, but Alton is the only city in the continental United States that has a Miles Davis statue. There are two other statues internationally. Internationally, there is one in Kelt. It's called Kelt, Poland. And then the other Miles Davis statue is in Nice, France. But as far as in the continental United States, Alton is the only city that has a Miles Davis statue.
I was watching a biography or documentary on him. Very fascinating and very interesting life too. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, Miles definitely. He is considered to be one of the most iconic jazz trumpeters.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, his album called All Blue is the highest grossing selling jazz album all time.
Wow.
And so he is regarded very highly, obviously.
Right. And Jared, I think this is great that Great Rivers and Routes, provides these opportunities. And just take me through your time, being a part of these tours. And what have you gained from doing this? Because, even though the information already,
right,
it's got to feel different and almost a way for you to relearn it when you're presenting to others that have maybe never even heard of these events for the first time,
Yeah, this is only my second season leading these tours, but I must say it does broaden my appreciation as far as where I live. It makes me realize that I really live in a very special area. I think people, once they take the tour, they feel likewise because a lot of this information you probably just drive by. You do not realize that all of this fantastic history is a part of where we live. So it is something that makes you more appreciative as to where you live, as to how your life integrates with where you live also.
Absolutely. And, what's the best way for more information? How do we get tickets? And what time are we departing on the 19th? And then the last tour of the season will be on November the 10th.
That is correct.
At what time?
That will also be at 10 o'clock. Each tour on each Saturday starts at 10. We will leave from the Visitor Center, from the Rivers and Routes, the Alton Visitors Bureau, right there. What is that?
Landmarks.
Landmarks and.
ISOL?
Okay, thank you. That sounds correct. Yeah.
Close.
Yeah.
It's close. It's right in front of the mill.
Yes, exactly. So all you do is that you go to the website riversandroutes.com, and then once you get to the homepage, then you scroll down. You will see a button that says "Buy Ticket." You just click on that, and then that will take you to the icon that says "Freedom to Equality." Now, the caveat is that for October, for this one in the 19th, that is the manner by which you can reserve your tickets. For the 10th, you probably just need to give me a phone call.
Okay.
You know, because for the tour on the 10th, I am going to personally have to reserve the shuttle bus.
Okay.
And so if individuals have a sincere interest, just give me a call, and then I can make sure that the shuttle bus has already been reserved, but just to make sure that there are enough seats. So, you know, I can definitely leave you my phone number.
And we'll connect that way. Or is email better, or is it phone?
You know, phone is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So leave that with me, and we'll connect it in the write-up, too.
That sounds great.
But really, just thanks for stopping by and filling us in on this. This is a great opportunity coming our way, not this weekend, but next Saturday, the following Saturday,
That's
the
right.
19th of October, from 10 a.m. to roughly about 12 noon. This is a great opportunity to learn about just some of Alton's vast history and just the prominence, of so many major topics of our country's history.
Yes, it is.
You
You're
know,
right,
and
CJ.
Jared, thanks for stopping by. We'll link everything in a write-up, and you're welcome back anytime to fill us in on more.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity, CJ. Appreciate it.
No problem. 9:43 is the time. We'll take a little bit of a pause here. Come back with our daily show on this Wednesday morning as my sinus migraine rolls around the corner.